I'm pretty sure if you're watching this video, you've heard of or seen one of the greatest Pixar movies ever made, and that's The Incredibles. I mean, it's a true classic. It really does go above and beyond just simple storytelling. It even offers some deep, intricate lore that most animated movies and films in general don't tend to offer. While the plot is simple and easy to follow, the film uses it to explore a variety of sophisticated and nuanced themes.
But Dad always said our powers were nothing to be ashamed of. Our powers made us special.
Everyone's special, Dash.
Which is another way of saying no one is.
These ideas are woven into the characters' motivations and their dialogue, creating underlying layers of meaning that elevate the story beyond a typical animated film.
It's perfectly normal.
Normal? What do you know about normal? What does anyone in this family know about normal?
Now, wait a minute, young
we
lady.
act normal, Mom. I want to be normal. The only normal one is Jack, and he's not even toilet trained.
Whether you're a kid watching The Incredibles for its exciting battles and funny moments,
I'm your #1 fan!
or an adult watching it for its deeper commentary on family, society, and identity, the film's brilliance lies in its ability to be a thrilling adventure for all ages. This makes it a timeless story that resonates no matter how old you are. But instead of reciting what's common knowledge from a movie that's been talked about and analyzed for over 2 decades, I want to talk about a particular detail that's a crucial part of the story that I feel gets overlooked, and that's Syndrome's death.
No kicks!
But first, let's briefly go over who Syndrome is. Syndrome, whose real name is Buddy Pine, was a brilliant inventor and huge fan of Mr. Incredible.
I invented these. I can fly. Can you fly?
Fly home, buddy. I work alone.
Oui, état tenu complètement ridicule.
When he tried to become Mr. Incredible's sidekick, naming himself Incrediboy, Mr. Incredible rejected him.
Fly home, buddy. I work alone.
This rejection deeply wounded Buddy, turning his admiration into bitter resentment. Buddy went on to become the wealthy and powerful villain Syndrome. His goal was to prove that he was better than true supers. He created a powerful robot and used it to eliminate other supers before planning to unleash it on Metroville. By defeating the robot, he planned to become a celebrated hero himself, and then sell his technology to the public, making everyone super, and thus rendering real superheroes pointless.
And when I'm old and I've had my fun, I'll sell my inventions so that everyone can be superheroes. Everyone can be super. And when everyone's super, no one will be.
Ultimately, his plan was foiled by the Incredibles, and he met his end when his cape was caught in a jet turbine. But what if Syndrome didn't die? Now, I know what you're thinking. Syndrome is definitely dead. I mean, who can survive that? Apparently, not even supers, so Syndrome has to be dead. Well, not exactly. Syndrome's a very intelligent person. He built inventions that surpassed even the powers of supers. For example, his Omnidroids are highly advanced artificially intelligent robots that can learn and adapt to its opponent's abilities, ultimately killing them. He also created a zero-point energy gauntlet, which could suspend objects in a zero-gravity field, allowing him to manipulate and incapacitate his opponents with a flick of the wrist. Even as a teenager, Syndrome designed and created his own rocket boots that allowed him to fly at high speeds. His entire island is filled with high-level technology, including hovercrafts, droids, advanced security systems, and testing facilities. I'm bringing all of this up because I have reason to believe Syndrome isn't dead. Well, the Syndrome we knew is definitely gone. But what if he had a contingency plan in case of his death? After all, we know he was incredibly smart. He designed the Omnidroids to defeat every super, and each time one was defeated, he'd make the next one even better. You would think a guy this smart would have a contingency plan in case things turned out badly for him, especially his own death. But what would his contingency plan be? My idea is that before Syndrome died, he could have uploaded his consciousness into a computer or created an advanced AI based on his mind. This version of Syndrome could then reappear as a new Omnidroid, not one of those bulky ones, no. What if it was human-sized, a humanoid, and didn't have the personality flaws that ultimately got him killed? An AI version of Syndrome wouldn't have his human weaknesses, the childish tantrums, the need wait for approval, the arrogant monologuing. It would be a cold, calculating, ruthless intellect.
Scream and your entire staff dies.
This new syndrome wouldn't be interested in gloating or proving his superiority. He would be solely focused on his ultimate goal, rendering supers obsolete.
You mean you killed off real heroes so
I've
that
come
you...
to save the world, to help them end.
This Omnidroid version of Syndrome would be the Incredibles' greatest villain yet. It would be an infinitely more powerful version of the original. The original Omnidroids were effective because they adapted to their opponents. When a super exploited a weakness, the next version of the Omnidroid would arrive with that weakness fixed and a new countermeasure ready. However, this process was reactive and linear. The robots couldn't anticipate problems or think outside of their programming. This new Omnidroid wouldn't have that problem. Because it's an advanced AI of Syndrome's mind, it would have a similar ability to learn and adapt. But it would be proactive, not just reactive. This Omnidroid wouldn't need to be defeated once to learn. It would have access to all of Syndrome's knowledge of supers, and every combat simulation he ever ran. That's pretty terrifying. But where would an AI Omnidroid even come from? After all, isn't The Incredibles set in the 1960s? How could Syndrome have developed such an advanced AI? Well, the film isn't set in our version of the 1960s. It's an alternate reality where technology evolved differently. Syndrome's advanced AI makes sense because the world of The Incredibles is defined by retrofuturism, and his inventions already demonstrate this concept. The Omnidroid in the first movie was not a simple machine. It was a learning robot with an advanced AI that adapted to its opponent's powers. Syndrome had already created a droid that could think and learn. The next logical step for a mind as brilliant as his would be to merge his own consciousness with that very technology. Syndrome's philosophy was that once everyone's super, no one will be. He believed that if he made his technology available to everyone, it would make superpowers irrelevant and destroy the concept of supers as a special class of people. But what if Syndrome wasn't just working on an advanced Omnidroid? What if in his mind he made the perfect super, one without innate abilities, a super that defined technological prowess? Let's expand on the idea that this new Omnidroid would have access to all of Syndrome's files and data on previous and existing supers. What if it could mimic the powers and abilities of every super in its knowledge? For instance, the Omnidroid could be composed of millions of adaptable nanobytes, giving it the ability to instantly reconfigure its form. Because the AI Omnidroid has access to all of Syndrome's research, it would have a vast database of every super he ever defeated or was planning to. It would know the exact properties of their powers, such as the freezing point of Frozone's ice or the intensity of Gamma Jack's burst. It could use this knowledge not only to counter a super's powers, but to mimic them perfectly. This would allow it to create a laser as strong as Gazer beams or a shield as impenetrable as Violet's. This ability to mimic powers will be the ultimate expression of Syndrome's core belief, because it proves that technology can not only counter, but also replicate any natural ability. Syndrome always saw supers as a dying breed, and he believed that he was the future. By creating an Omnidroid that can mimic their powers, he would be proving that he was right. The Omnidroid would be a technological masterpiece, a perfect hero, one that isn't limited by flesh and bone, but by the endless possibilities of technology. It would be the ultimate super. This would be the most terrifying part of all, because it would prove that Syndrome wasn't just a boy throwing a tantrum.
My name is not Buddy!
But a technological visionary whose ideas were far ahead of their time.
Everyone can be super. And when everyone's super, no one will be.
Now, some of you are probably wondering, since Syndrome died in The Incredibles, where is this AI version of him in Incredibles 2? Well, there are a million different ways to explain why Syndrome's AI was absent during the events of Incredibles 2. For example, we could say that Syndrome's AI was dormant and that it wouldn't be released until its security protocol was triggered accidentally or directly. Let's say a one-off supervillain attempted to steal tech from Syndrome's old lair, but accidentally activated the AI Omnidroid. Upon waking, the Omnidroid would analyze the scene and the villain, concluding that they are indeed a super and immediately destroying them. This would show us just how dangerous and powerful this new Omnidroid is, setting the stage for it to complete Syndrome's mission of making supers obsolete. But we could come up with millions of other ideas that would justify the AI's absence and how it could be introduced as a villain for a future movie.
This is exactly what I wanted. All of you against all of me.
The AI Syndrome would be the perfect villain to bring together the philosophical and technological ideas of both films. Whether it can mimic powers or not, it would be a villain that is not only a physical threat, but also a symbolic one. It would be a true test of the belief that natural gifts can withstand any technological threat. It's a narrative concept that not only honors the original film's villain, but also serves as the logical culmination of the franchise's themes on technology, heroism, and the place of gifted individuals in society. But what do you think? Are you convinced that Syndrome possibly had a contingency plan in case of his death? If so, what do you think would be the best way to introduce the AI Syndrome? If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like and subscribing if you haven't already. And with all that being said, I hope to see you next time.